Right guys, thought I would just do a quick video on one of my most used power tools. This is the DEWALT DCS355N Oscillating Multi-Tool. Obviously I do a lot of renovations and home improvement type work, so a lot of different trades I cover, and this tool just comes in so handy in so many different situations. So I thought I would just do a quick video showing you a lot of the different situations that I would use this machine for. Right, so firstly you get a huge array of blades for these tools. These are the ones I use, and you can go bananas with these blades and get 20 different types, but I tailor the blades for my specific situations or specific needs. Right, there's the tool, there's the blades. Now we'll go on to the 20 most common situations where I would use the blades. Starting with number 1. Okay, so here's a common use that I would use this for. It would be your standard, just a single gang electrical back box. Typically, sometimes you would find a fixing in there, for instance, with a nail. So, what I would use this tool for is get the blade on, put it at an angle like that, slip it down in behind the skirting board, and and just back and forward and cut the nail. Once that's cut, you could then lift the skirting board up without having to take it out. Yeah, so that way you don't need to mess about with any of the plumbing, the heating system. Try to get the skirting board out. But while I've got this set up as well, another thing you can do here with skirting boards, we'll just replicate. We'll say this pipe's the side of a unit or something, a kitchen unit or a vanity unit going in against the skirting board. Now, without having to take the skirting board off, what you can do is mark a line down the skirting board, and then just cut it in situation. you know, in situ. So you just cut that straight up there, remove that piece and put your unit in without having to take the skirting board off. Again, so it's effectively a plunge saw. You're plunging in and cutting without the need to remove trim or anything like that, so brilliant. Okay, so we've got a metal cutting blade on now. When you use one of these, obviously you can cut metal with it. So one of the ways you can use it is to cut copper pipe. Another obvious use for this with a metal blade is cutting nails out. Obviously it's a loose nail, you wouldn't do it in this scenario, but you know, if you can imagine something nailed to you and you just couldn't get a grip of the nail, you could slip the tool down the back of the nail straight off. There's one time when I used that similar scenario to that is when fence panels are secured to fence posts. Somebody's nailed them on instead of using brackets. You can just slip the multi-tool in between the panel and the post and cut the nails. And then just take the panel out. It's just so much easier. Another one quickly is acrylic wall panels. So these are the panels that you fit in kitchens or bathrooms. Just thin acrylic sheets, you know, to act as a splashback. A lot of the times when you're fitting these, you need to notch them round, you know, socket outlets, things like that. This is where this tool's brilliant for that. Just like this. Acrylic's notoriously difficult to cut because it chips quite a lot and splinters. But you find with the multi-tool you can cut that fairly well and it doesn't chip or splinter. So for cutting around sockets or even plunge cutting into the acrylic, you know, if you want to square in there, the multi-tool is absolutely ideal for that. Okay, another situation, you can put on the carbide. This is the blade I normally Right, another one guys, bear with me with the materials and the demonstration. I'm a bit ill prepared here, but what I'm trying to replicate here is floorboards, so tongue and groove floorboards. In order to maybe get a section of flooring up, it's usually really difficult if there's a tongue and groove in there. So what you can do, what you always do really, is the multi-tool. Slip it down into the joint and run along that joint and just cut the tongue off of the flooring. A couple of runs along there, and then you'll find you can get a pry bar or something in there and then actually pry the flooring up. So it's another use. That's probably one of the most common uses for the multi-tool. Another common use in the same theme, whether it's floorboards or chipboard flooring, is to cut out hatches, you know, if you need to get under the floor, especially electricians or plumbers. The multi-tool's excellent for that, you know, just plunge cut again, and you can cut the area out quite easily. Okay, there's another use that's really common for me anyway, those terrible thin bath panels, you know, the cheap plastic bath panels. They never fit those things, so this particular blade here is great for cutting those. So you just run it up the, you know, really thin plastic, really thin and flimsy, but these blades are so accurate if you just take your time. You can just cut some intricate shapes. So this is the bath panel blade in my opinion for me. Just a great blade. While I'm discussing this, the reason I use the DEWALT multi-tool, other than being on the DEWALT platform obviously, is the quick release option. So with the DEWALT, all you do is press the lever in and then the blade just simply pulls out like that. So depress the blade, you can see me depress it, and you can spin the blade in any direction. Let go of the blade and it just simply locks into place. Yeah, as I was saying, these are the DEWALT blades that just slip on, but the standard, or a lot of the other multi-tools, I've got another one here, I've got just a cheapo Ryobi one that I used to use for tiling. But you can see how you need an Allen key, you know, to change the blades. Here's a typical blade here, but you would need to actually, you know, undo this nut, put the blade on, do it up. It's so time consuming and, you know, just a bit awkward. You know, when you're used to just using the lever system, press the lever, get the blade, slip it on, that's it, it's done, you know, so it's a time saver. So this DEWALT was if you're thinking about getting a multi-tool, I would highly recommend the DEWALT if you're going to do any amount of DIY. The harder you depress it, the faster the tool goes, so there is great control over that. So that, coupled with the quick release system, makes this the multi-tool of choice, in my opinion. Right guys, there's one other thing that I use the multi-tool for fairly often, is when I'm refinishing kitchen worktops. I will use the sanding attachment, this small attachment. Obviously I'll use an orbital sander to sand the worktops, but obviously in the corners or, you know, in some intricate places you need to use the small, you know, the detail sander. So the sanding pads just stick on here with Velcro, and you can use these to get into all the nooks and crannies. So that's another thing I would use the multi-tool for, and it is good for that. The DEWALT's far superior to this, but again, I'm not a snob when it comes to tools. The Ryobi's perfectly adequate, you know, if that's what your budget calls for. It's a good enough tool. It's never really caused me any problems. But hopefully I've covered a few things you can do with the multi-tool. I've tried to cover what I use it for, but there's probably another 100 different things you could use it for that other people use it for. But please guys, if there's any other interesting ways you use the multi-tool, please stick it in the comments, just to let some other people know what you can use them for. That'd be fantastic. If you enjoyed the video, as always, give it a thumbs up guys if you can. Anybody new here, please subscribe my channel by clicking the button there. Current subscribers, as always, thanks very much. Sorry for the variety and content on this channel at the moment. I'm still trying to figure out, you know, what the channel's all about really. I'm just so new to YouTube, but we'll try and niche down into certain topics, so, you know, it interests most people. But again guys, thanks very much and take it easy as always.